Minister, I want to ask you if dribble bar slurry tanks will be included in grant aid and if you will make a statement on the matter.
Cara.
Thanks, Deputy Nolan. The targeted, or TAMS3, the Targeted Agriculture Modernisation Scheme, as you know, provides grants to farmers to build or improve a specified range of farm buildings and equipment on their holdings. There's an indicative budget of €370 million available for the period 2022 to 27, whereby all investments are linked to climate, environment or animal welfare. Following the success of TAMS2, I've increased the number of investments available significantly to in excess of 430 items. There is currently analysis taking place on the emission factor of the dribble bar, comparing it to the trailing shoe. I'm awaiting the outcome of this analysis before making a decision on the inclusion of the dribble bar in TAMS3. Investment items and ceilings for grant aid are under constant review, and additional investment items may be included for consideration when evaluating further updates to TAMS3 investment lists, Deputy Nolan. So I will be considering it. I haven't ruled it out, but obviously in terms of making state investments and the very significant support that's available, we want to make sure that it supports farmers, but also that it actually is an effective long-term investment. So what I did do was, in relation to the trailing shoe, I increased the grant aid available for it to 60% in this TAMS compared to 40% last time around, so that the cost to the farmer would be similar to what the dribble bar would have been. And certainly some of the earlier advice would indicate that the trailing shoe is a lot more effective from an emissions point of view and from a nutrients point of view than the dribble bar, but I am getting that reviewed. I know I've had many farmers come to me in relation to this. I know in some parts, in some parts of the country, the dribble bar farmers can feel it is more navigable. But listen, my mind is open on this. I am looking at waiting for the advice to come back so that I can consider it in terms of whether we include it in the next tranche or not. Thanks.
Minister, thank you for your response. I recently met the IFA who discussed this issue of dribble bar and the fact that there needs to be higher grant aid. They were saying that it actually does help and that there is substantive research out there to say that it does help reduce emissions. But by increasing the grant for the trailing shoe, which is welcomed by some farmers who that might suit, there are other farmers with small and medium-sized holdings who may not have a higher powered tractor, and it's my understanding that the trailing shoe will only work with a high-powered tractor. So therefore they're pressurised into getting an agri-contractor. Now I'm asking if the analysis can be concluded, because I got a parliamentary response from yourself on the 10th of October and it stated that the analysis was still going on. But when I asked you at the beginning of April, 6 months ago, it was underway. So it has gone on, and I'm just wondering, when will this data be concluded? And also, I just wish to ask you also and impress on you if you will take on board the asks and requests of particularly the IFA, who I've met myself, who've asked for grant aid and increased grant aid. And I welcome the fact that you haven't ruled this out yet, but I do feel that the analysis now needs to be brought to a conclusion. Surely they have it done. I don't know what's going on in that department.
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, it'll be concluded in time for the next opening and to make a decision in advance of that, and that's what I've asked for to happen, Deputy Nolan. And there's massive work going on in the department. I mean, it's a rather flippant comment you made there at the end, I think, because we have a record number of applications in at the moment for TAMS, which shows the appetite there for on-farm investment. We're working through now in relation to actually getting people approvals for those. We've front-loaded as well the ones that need to do the work this autumn and winter, to make sure that people can get on with it and get those approvals. It is important in terms of how farmer spends the money, or also particularly, from our point of view, how the state spends its money, particularly in really long-term investments like, investment in dribble bar, low-emission slurry spreading machines, or trailing shoe, that we're spending it wisely and appropriately, because they'll be around for a long time. So we did a pause based on the research that was there, because we want to make sure that it's actually achieving the objectives that it set out to do. So I will conclude that, and we'll make a decision then, and based on the evidence, the scientific evidence, but also other considerations as well. Thanks.
Minister, I suppose my concern here is that it's something that could be kicked down the road. The can could be kicked down the road. I hope that's not the case. And really what I want to ask you is that if you can give absolute certainty today to farmers that the conclusion of this research will definitely be at its end by the opening of the next TAMs. If you can give certainty regarding that, I think it's important, because we have to make sure also that we have practical measures in place. It's my understanding that the trailing shoe costs in excess of €50,000. Not every farming family with high input costs is going to have that type of money, and particularly now when they're under pressure, more than ever in terms of nitrates and everything else. I just don't think it's fair. I think there has to be another measure found, and the more solutions that are there, the better, I think, to help farmers and assist them. But really, I think it's important that certainty is given here today, that there be a definite conclusion by the opening of the next TAMs. Carol Nolan.
No, I already laid out that position, that was my intention, Deputy Nolan, and that remains my intention in terms of tranche 2. And listen, both the trailing shoe and the dribble bar are very expensive pieces of equipment, and are very long-term investments. And there's significant investment from the state point of view in relation to TAMs, and a significant investment from a farmer point of view as well. And it's important that we're taking steps now that, that stand the test of time, because these machines will be around for a long time. Many, both dribble bars and low emission trailing shoes have been purchased over the last number of years. There's been very strong uptake. It's making a real difference at farm level. But based on new research in relation to the emissions value and the efficiency value in terms of nutrient uptake, particularly the efficiency value, I'm having that reassessed and paused the dribble bar. But what I did do, as I said to you, I increased the grant aid that was available for the trailing shoe then from 40% to 60%, so that the marginal cost to the farmer of purchasing a trailing shoe, or a trailing shoe now as opposed to dribble bar, is the same as what it would have been if they'd been purchasing a dribble bar under the old TAMs previously. I take your point in relation to tractor size, which is a challenge. So listen, I'm considering it all in the round, and I want to bring we'll bring clarity as soon as they can. Thanks.